So I wanted to start off by explaining why I look some ways. See how, um, like this? This is because I got hit on the back of the head and then stabbed in the back. And while I was in the hospital, one of my injuries required me to be lifted up in a semi-uncomfortable position for a long period of time to take pressure off one of my wounds. And it was a more comfortable eating and stuff like that. So this continued for a long time, and a whole bunch of other people had this happen to them. So like anybody who kind of walks like this, or talks to you like this, they probably had a head injury. And a long time ago, a lot of my young pioneers, they went looking for the commander because they heard he had a head injury. So they were trying to help anybody who might have had a head injury that could have been the commander, which was literally anybody. And now, nobody knows that anybody walking like this might have been treated if they had a head injury by having pillows propped up for a long period of time. Okay. What was I? Oh, yeah. Ooh. I'm a wish dragon. I am exactly what everybody that just threw a coin over their head blindly into that fountain is looking for. A wish dragon. Let me explain. See, I've been talking about getting together with my bro Thor. Alright? And nobody knew what I meant until they realized, young pioneers, that is, that Commander Loki was trying to get with his bro Thor. And they were upset about things from the past. But they resolved that. Anyway, this right here is the diagram for that wish dragon. Now, you might notice that if you just forget that I am G.I. Joe, the Cobra Commander, or the commander of Cobra, let's put it that way, and that is the people of Cobra, because I have to make it different because people want to put labels on people and make them out to be like a good guy or a bad guy or a weird guy. It doesn't really matter. The point is that if I tell you that this could be a dragon instead of a cobra, then it would make sense that if what I was talking about finally happened, and then we just made my bro Thor, because he hates me, because I'm just the worst. And if we just make him work with us, he'll grant wishes with me. And we can get back to doing other things that we were interested in as children, I guess you'd say. As the World Organization and General Kowalski may know, I am currently engaged in a nuclear war with Japan. And because Japan is despicable and has killed my young pioneers, orphans, the people of Cobra, my people, Loki's people, Commander Loki's people, when there's really only one rule in dealing with Soviets. You don't mess with the commander. And the commander's communication with his people, in this case, me, Loki, the commander, has been tampered with. And I, the commander, and G.I. Joe, and a lot of effort was put into G.I. Joe, and then it was ruined by reasons that people can't seem to get behind, which is, this world, everyone makes the wrong decision, or doesn't act. And anybody that is supposed to be there has been removed by bad actors, or something like that. And the Breacher just either A, didn't know that, or B, he was probably one of the first Breachers that tried to do anything and fix this world, or something like that. But it doesn't matter. The point is that I got something. Time to catch a wolf, and this right here is a symbol of peace with Japan and understanding that you don't do the exact wrong thing done to you to other people randomly, secretly, and then not know it. Cobra. Peace. And then we will make Mr. Sushi my friend, like he was supposed to be, as a favorable outcome and tool and key to fixing this nuclear war problem with Japan. Oh, yeah, one more thing. This tag reads, peace, friendship, and goodwill to Japan, a token of understanding from Cobra. Commander uses Red Wand just as the Commander's people used Red Wand on the Commander and helped the Commander gain proper perspective. In his agitated quest to get to at least one of his people he knew he would find. Some people might be asking, why is he not wearing his gloves today? Well, that's because today I wanted to have my hands a little bit more free. This right here is a battle song. And it was worked on and practiced on and thought on in a engineering way with one of the people that posed as a friend but worked as a spy. A despicable practice, but one of necessity, as the person's father, a FBI agent and intelligence officer for Senator Rich, with Republicans or whatever, actually raped his mother, one of my young pioneers from Romania, a little girl, only 14 at the time, and hooked her on drugs, like hard drugs, that he obtained from working in law enforcement. Anyway, this right here is to show you that A, I, high as shit, can work a ballad song. And I'm also being made sick with all kinds of siege warfare conducted here in the United States. Somebody came into my home and broke this little world, but it wasn't mine. It was somebody else's. It was an old woman's who lost all her family. How terrible. Perhaps somebody will come along and I'll have the time and money to fix it. And to my Bo peeps, some of my young pioneers who I inherited, who were trained to kill, I hope that you have tendered some of your resignations now, if it was convenient, and gotten your letter of resignation from your law enforcement agencies, and started to look towards a place like Disney, where they do not allow firearms for security. Later, I'd like to consolidate you all and talk to you about why we are going to be making this move. Now, let's see. Oh, yeah. Hideo Kojima. Years ago, we played The Division. You helped me try to unite my family, and the government told you that you couldn't talk to me because of reasons. Check with your government because they're crazy and declared nuclear war on me, G.I. Joe, the commander of the people of Cobra, the young pioneers. Respect Lieutenant Commander Dr. Mindbender always aided the commander. I wanted to take some time because I know that some people just can't stand Dr. Mindbender for reasons. Well, Dr. Mindbender has been off doing a lot of the things that a lot of people said they didn't want to do anymore. So, in order for everyone to stay safe, he did Lieutenant Commander things that no one wanted to do anymore. And he follows the Duke, the Golden Cobra. Alright, so, years ago, Waco. And then everybody knows that, like, everybody became, honorary Texas Rangers. Okay, so, at this time, I don't know what's going on, but this was in the way, and I have a story. It's a true story. A very true story. It's a story of G.I. Joe. And I guess the rest of the world would consider this a wish dragon thing. This administration, in this one clip on this one thing, on a paid content thing that came across my feed during advertisements, had an arrow when you paused it that pointed directly at the Joint Operations Intelligence Center's Captain Melba's signs. I know this signs from a memory in a place that I have never been. Her particular desk, years ago. Not the years ago that I was there as an honorary Texas Ranger, which, by the way, doesn't really mean anything. The message got to my people, the young pioneers, that this was me becoming a law enforcement officer. And or something similar. However, I was never qualified as a child soldier of the Soviet Union with confirmed kills to be a law enforcement officer that was a child at that time. So, this person signs one day. One of our sworn enemies came in and said, because he was a part of a Nazi, racist, fascist thing, and was told by the Hungarians, by the way, it's the Hungarian intelligence people for the country of Hungary, right, who caused all these problems here in the United States and all over the world with United States resources. In order to get payback, like for an invasion or something. Don't know about it because it's not taught anywhere in America. Anyway, this guy comes, who's a frame job artist working with the Texas Rangers, who never worked in intelligence, but only worked as a frame job artist for a Hungarian saboteur that is a U.S. intelligence officer doing siege warfare. Turned all the way up. And that's who this guy is, right? And he was told basically to not appear racist, and this was an acceptable person that would work their way up the ladder or something, right? And who was, I guess, white enough, right? Because remember, the commander is clearly a black redneck, and the commander means that. So, anyway, this person is clearly not your particular U.S. white, because she's part like Mexican or something like that. And so therefore they're trying to make it seem acceptable, right? When something happens or whatever, right? Then they have somebody in intelligence that they think that they can count on to do their racket. All right. So anyway, when I was doing this honorary Texas Ranger thing, it was called Trevette, or Triple Vetted. You can call me Triple Vetted. Nothing can stop me from saving my people! All the evil, says the public information officer, broke our bait man, right? So I'm broke, right? So this is the R bait man, so if I want to get money, I'm going to do some street rat things, and then do some Abu satisfying, right? So, the explanation is that Mr. Sushi is crazy, has an Icer, and nobody understands that he just considers this part of his tools, which includes directed radiation weapons. Used to kill some of my young pioneer orphans. Anyway, in this tool set, if you read between the lines, the Texas Rangers over there, see, they got hypnosis people. And over there, they have, between all of their agents or whatever, you can't know who they are, have Icers, a pile of them. Technology access is what I'm saying. And these space weapons are serious. However, it's a rumor that something like this was used to terrorize victims in the OSBI, but only between some OSBI people who are long since retired. So the new people don't know anything about the Cold War. And this technology I am referring to. Now, soon I will obtain this technology from a trusted source with nuclear weapons. I believe it's Kowalski. So, when I do, the legal obtaining method in the United States will actually be known. Everything else will be considered then a terrorist act, or something like that. Alright, so, recapping. Out of Waco comes my Brothor and I, and it then shows Walker and Trevette. For which we basically did the same kinds of things. And then if you saw certain episodes and compiled that, these are the kinds of things we went through and got no actual help from real battles. Real battles. Battlezone G.I. Joe. And notice the lasso, the gun, the black, the walker. The walker aspect of me, and then there is the actual walker who I am connected to, my bro Thor. Alright? As I am Trevette. Alright? And this is how mimic puppeteers actually work. Now, I am the little drummer boy here in the United States for this revolution. So, everything has to kind of make sense. Nobody knows what a lasso is here in the United States. So they don't understand, it's not just like a tool to do things with. They don't understand it also has symbolic meanings. And those symbolic meanings can mean to catch something. To catch something that you didn't know that was there. Or that you were looking for. Or that was unobtainable. And you wanted to bring it closer to you in some meaningful way. Like emotionally or whatever. So, in other words, it's like an altar. Or something like that. Or witchcraft. Yeah. I mean, I got a wand, and my bro Thor keeps on saying I'm a bitch, and that's why we're not together. Or something. Look, I'm not gonna say that he's saying things that are untrue. And we're just gonna leave it at that. And then I'm a magical wish dragon. Not him. Alright. A brief mention to Israel on certain things. Exodus 14:24. Young pioneers who are into the Christian thing. Listen closely. As well as World Organization people. And Israel. Crossing the sea. When Pharaoh let people go, God did not lead them on the road to the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. So what that's saying is, there's two different people doing similar kinds of things, and they are not at the same time, or did not have contact with each other. I believe that Israel calls me, Loki, the broken branch. And nothing can stop me from saving my people. So, I need to make something really clear. Police in America are now doing World War II Nazi concentration stuff. The Yogas and BIA natives don't cart people off to sorting, vanishing, execute camps. Okay? So people that are into yoga, that do law enforcement or whatever, they don't tend to do that unless they just don't know any better, which in that case, it's really that bad. BIA cops aren't into the mental health things because they're really against that kind of thing. They think that anything they can't handle is something they haven't investigated. So that's another problem. Nobody can seem to investigate anything without somebody from some national security or intelligence telling them what it is or what to do. Like this old Nazi shit, alright? This tells the police and stuff how to send people off to concentration camps, right? Even if the symbols are right in front of their faces, right? This is more of a translated version. Basically, red means political. Red triangle means a political dissident. Or black. Anything black is also a dissident. Red triangle, dissident, broken branch. So Israel, stand now with the most evil of the broken branch, which is me. Everybody knows that snakes have to do something with evil, and I claim to be the most evil in all the world. Or the greatest wizard of all time. And I happen to be a space wizard, if you haven't seen the Arc of Cobra. So, I'm pretty evil if I'm flying around in a microwave phaser craft with a wand that's a sword. I have to be the most evil. Space wizard. And I have to be Earth's space wizard. Loki, trying to reunite with my bro Thor and do some world-saving stuff. I mean, everyone saw all those world leaders throw those coins over their heads, hoping that what they were going in for was worth it. And with the magical Wish Dragon united, yes it is. Back to nuclear war with Japan. Once upon a time, Cobra Commander got a boat stuck trying to do a void shortcut, which turned out being a much longer, painful, and also a necessary lesson. When Cobra Commander ran a boat aground, that boat that he and his crew were on, the crew did all the work. Cobra Commander stopped doing his share of work for getting the boat stuck when he became overheated. So, what happened? Well, through the young pioneers, commanders, mind transference technology, I can tell you what it felt like. I felt like I was standing in a room with a bunch of water that was in tanks that absorbed all the sound in all the rooms and all around me, even when I was outside. And once I cooled down, I realized that I could not see the future anymore. The reason I couldn't see the future anymore is because I became overheated. And the contusion in my head from when I was very, very young, like a baby, which was basically a soft area of certain parts of the brain that hadn't really grown in yet. When you would think that the brain would have grown like that. And that contusion led to the ability to see into the future. In other words, the future seeing clock of 5 seconds forward of most people was broken in a significant way. And the way that it interacted with the hippocampus. So what this means is, if my Brothor gets overheated because of his contusion, similar to my contusions, there will be problems, just as getting too cold for myself will also lead to problems. So I would assume that due to his condition, that would also be an issue. Now, what does this mean? If I got a boat stuck, or remember getting a boat stuck, and what it felt like in a medical usefulness for somebody with an Asperger's contusion, an imprint, if you will, from a head injury of my Brothor, which probably, by the way, isn't accounted for, though it should be. Anyway, what does this mean? Oh, yeah. I turned a boat, and I caught a wolf. According to this, I'm the master of disaster. Melba signs, Texas Ranger. Back to your desk. The Lone Ranger came over and put down on your desk, front and center, so you could see easily his Icer. His Icer was a little bit bigger than most Icers because it had a longer range. So that way anybody he was dealing with, because he was higher up on the Intelligence Covenant pole, he could subdue them, figure out what they had, or disable their Icer if they became hostile, and then get one up on them again and begin to control them. You were one of those people to him, but you didn't even have an Icer. Or he didn't know whether you did, or whether you did, if you did, whether you knew how to use it. Since then, years, if you read between the lines, there's a pile of Icers going through your hypnosis training program. I hear they even have hypnotists that go through that program who go to schools to see what they can find for potential future clients in mental health situations. You know, to make them bipolar, get them in on the pharmaceutical racket, get them stuck in it. and I mean that directly as a racket and a criminal way to manipulate people's diagnosis. So many unprosecuted cases when you had literal licenses to follow under the Patriot Act. Where was law enforcement? Everywhere. Not one case, I bet. So anyway, like I said, at a minimum, he disclosed to you a technology that under his own group's thing, it's illegal under U.S. law to disclose that to you unless you have gone through a kind of like a investigation for a top secret clearance for a specific item. And you have to be a physician. That's another thing. In order to have one of those. That was according to the real U.S. military. And the real U.S. government before it became this Nazi whatever every commissioned law enforcement officer seems to be following right now. It's 2021, but it started at COVID-19. Everyone just fell in line and said nothing. But now, back to nuclear war with Japan.
My father came from Japan in 1905. He was 15 when he immigrated from Japan. He worked until he was able to buy his, to actually build a store.
Let me tell you a story in the form of a dream. I don't know why I have to tell it, but I know what it means. Close your eyes, just picture the scene as I paint it for you. It was World War II when this man named Kenji woke up. Ken was not a soldier. He was just a man with a family who owned a store in LA. That day, he crawled out of bed like he always did. Bacon and eggs with wife and kids. He lived on the second floor of a little store he ran. He moved to LA from Japan. They called him immigrant. In Japanese, he'd say he was called Issei. That meant first generation in the United States when everybody was afraid of the Germans, afraid of the Japs, but most of all afraid of a homeland attack. And that morning, when Ken went out on the doormat, his world went black, cause right there, front page news, 3 weeks before 1942, Pearl Harbor's been bombed and the Japs are coming. Pictures of soldiers dying and running. Ken knew what it would lead to, just like he guessed. The president said the evil Japanese in a home country would be locked away. They gave Ken a couple of days to get his whole life packed in 2 bags. Just 2 bags, couldn't even pack his clothes. Some folks didn't even have a suitcase to pack anything in, so 2 trash bags is all they gave them. And when the kids asked Mom, where are we going? Nobody even knew what to say to them. Ken didn't want to lie, he said the US is looking for spies, so we have to live in a place called Manically, where a lot of Japanese people are. Stop it, don't look at the gunmen. You don't want to get the soldiers wondering if you're gonna run or not, cause if you run then you might get shot. Other than that, try not to think about it. Try not to worry about it being so crowded. Someday we'll get out, someday.
As soon as war broke out, from the FBI came and they just come to the house and they had to come. All the Japanese had to go. They took Mr. Lee and people couldn't understand why they had to take him because he's an innocent laborer.
So now they're in a town with soldiers surrounding them. Every day, every night, look down at them. From watchtowers up on the wall, Ken couldn't really hate them at all. They were just doing the job and he wasn't gonna make any problems. He had a little garden, vegetables and fruits that he gave to the troops in a basket his wife made. But in the back of his mind, he wanted his family's life saved. Prisoners of war in their own damn country, what for? Time passed in the prison town. He wondered if he'd live it down if and when we were free. The only way out was joining the army, and supposedly some men went out for the army, signed on, and ended up flying to Japan with a bomb. That 15-kiloton blast put an end to the war pretty fast. 2 cities were blown to bits. The end of the war came quick. Ken got out big hopes of a normal life with his kids and his wife, but then they got back to their home and what they saw made them feel so alone. These people had trashed every room, smashed in the windows and bashed in the doors, written on the walls and the floor, Japs not welcome anymore. And Kenji dropped both his bags to the sides and just stood outside. He looked at his wife without words to say. She looked back at him, wiped the tears away, and said, someday we'll be okay, someday. Now the names have been changed, but the story's true. My family was locked up back in 42. My family was there when it was dark and damp, and they called it an internment camp.
When we first got back from camp, it was pretty bad.
I remember my husband said, oh, we're going to stay till last. Then my husband died before they closed the camp.
Shinoda, doublespeak. Nagoya, old. Nagoya, new. All you can eat. This makes me, in this role, Goku's son. And lost and then born anew. The Merlin. Remember Goku's son's possibilities. The story of the Soviet defectors in Japan in space. There's me on my little computer creating a giant machine. And then there's the group of people clearing out all the problems from yesteryear. And these shadow patterns that are overlooked. I know, Shinoda, what it's like to be sanctioned. Kind of like you. You're a foreigner who is bound to different lands for reasons overlooked by everybody else, and you're disrespected in such a way that is truly remarkable. The effort put into it, the personal disrespect, and how wrong it is. Now, my disorganization of orphans at Foundation, that's what they are, has had a number of different dealings with Shinoda in doublespeak many times, and they were all positive. This nuclear war with Japan is ridiculous. They somehow managed to attack the stateless Cobra commander, and they nuked Goku-san. Just think about this. I was once revered as a Japanese person. Truly. By Japan. And millions of Japanese, literally, and millions of other people around the world had considered this in deep thought of what it would be like if Goku-san was actually real, and what if he did have a head injury and made him go evil? What if he was evil all the way and the head injury just made him do things irrationally and not be the hero that he should have been. So, the boy who posed as a spy, or posed as a friend, and betrayed me, to try to find a way for he and somebody else, who was disenfranchised as well, and didn't feel like they had a place. These are some of the people that the commander caused confusion for. And I want them to take care of these people and offer them something more sure than the person who is his father. This Texas Ranger is the same person who messed up my peace deal with the Muslims, which could have found a place for everybody with the king in Saudi Arabia. But there's something wrong there, and I can't figure out what it is, and I think that I have. And it has something to do with the commander not having the title necessary to lead his people and meet basic requirements of being the commander when he otherwise should. Low game. You want low game, this is low game. There just has to be a place that is away for these people, so that they aren't judged by those who they are around, but yet still welcome as one. This is one of the great things about the Young Pioneers and our great distribution everywhere. But communication from the commander on goodwill and his actions, while supposed to be undercover as well, were overlooked. And there was supposed to be a period where things were resolved, and they were not, for interdimensional breacher reasons. And I will explain this later. So, Japan Investigator. Understanding that people like the idea of a wish dragon happening is very important. You should figure out what a wish dragon is, and how something like this could have been avoided. There's one rule in dealing with Soviets. You don't mess with their commander! And I am the commander you don't mess with! If I were you, I'd figure out a way to show favor to the commander with the stigma that the commander has received because of this attack. It's just so more horrid. Now back to finding a home for someone we would otherwise get rid of for attacking us unjustly. This is a part of our family that we should have taken care of, but everyone lost their minds due to the Cold War and not being able to understand that we had to handle breacher situations at a world scale, and everyone had to have been participating in a positive manner, but was still stuck with World War II things that shouldn't have mattered for us. There are many places that you can find for these people, and for those that want me to speak on these, I will select a specific pioneer to manage their specific individual cases that everyone is concerned about, as well as the individuals themselves, and be able to communicate a good end result for these people if we can. And I think that we definitely can. There's plenty of room, plenty of places to go, plenty of friends to be made. Everyone wants a new friend, especially after this isolation. Once we get this sorted out, that will definitely happen. Alright. This is for those stupid people in the government. Alright, this is Tracy. This is me. Okay? And it's a combination thing. It's a Wish Dragon thing. Where we do Mission Impossible, and we do it for real. Okay? It just takes a long time to do. Right, so you got beat by a bunch of kid stuff, by the way. The code actually got broken on the central floor of intelligence. Okay? The central floor of intelligence is in Congress because that's the way the law was made. So at a certain point, Stone Manning tree spiking is me. Tree spiking. The commander does not lie. Your commander is good in this way. So you can always improve the commander because the commander is a mimic. And then puppeteers what he learns. Or wands is healing and defense. But mostly, your commander just tells the truth. Transparency. People think they're going to infiltrate Cobra. It's the stupidest idea ever. I tried to get Adad, Nabu, and Enki, but I'm not sure what ended up coming through as legitimate as history. It has been, that is true. It seems to have been mostly gone, except for a few bits and snippets here. Everything else is all custom images and renderings in a appreciative manner for a lot of the ancient stuff. So, one more reason. I have a copy of the real thing when I could have the real thing. Oh, by the way, it's Mission Impossible, so the code for Tracy Stone Manning, me, Wish Dragon Key, number 1 of 2, who I will control number 2, very briefly, and then it will take on its own life and we will be empowered in our own ways. You get Loki, you also get the future seeing guy as well. And everybody at the G20 threw a coin in. Let's give them their wish dragon that they want. Young pioneers, let's go get, as G.I. Joe, the wish dragon, and I will be Snake Eyes, and I will work with other girls like Scarlet and Red Ninja or whatever, and I will help them do their G.I. Joe stuff, and then I will train people. But there is some important stuff to remember. And this goes mostly to tyrants doing stuff with the people that are disenfranchised and in the United States. If you're tyrannical, and I perish, hungry sharks on the top of office, hungry gators on the bottom, it makes no difference to the Space Doorway's justice system. The Wish Dragon thing is real. Find anything. The plans for my microwave phaser craft should have made it very clear that I am of goodwill, and so are my people, but we were mistreated, and there is proactive destruction of my people by Nazi nurseries which are attacking the world worldwide and converting governments to attack their own people and disenfranchise and change and erase their history. The option is to pick up and leave peacefully. And I think we should pick up the Chosen One and leave peacefully. The invasion of America, in my opinion, is going to happen one way or another. Because what they have done, especially with the Japanese, is just too bad. It's too bad. They kept on killing people, trying to spread messages about terrorism in their country that was caused by the United States, and using missiles on their families when they discovered them. And this was the military that was doing the killing. So when they discovered this, the government just said it was absolutely fine and continued to do it. The world just stopped talking to the United States on this issue and started taking action. So anyone who supports the United States against me on this issue and or my people, you're despicable, and you support the murdering of people trying to protect their families from terrorism that your tax dollars paid for, and then you murder them with a missile. That's what you're supporting them for. That's when you support, America and the military and the courts and paying your taxes, all that stuff. This is the one issue you side with G.I. Joe on and his people, because you reject me like this. Years ago, I wanted to speak with my representative, and I was denied when all else, and I couldn't find an agency to talk with about my issues with my communication with people and reconnecting with people and improving, becoming better than I was yesterday. Becoming this person was impossible with the government proactively using things on me to make me say things that I didn't want to say or do things I didn't want to do for too long, and I needed it to stop so that I could be this low gain that you wanted me to be. And I'm ready to be this, but